Hi, this is SJ Akai with Prayer Nuggets. In my last lesson, I talked about praying in faith and how Jesus used the miracle of the cursing of the fig tree to teach us what it means to pray in faith. The main lesson is found in Mark 11 verse 24. Therefore, I say to you, whatever things you ask when you pray, believe that you receive them and you will have them. Therefore, praying in faith implies that when we ask God for anything in prayer, we should believe that we have received them and then we will have them. In the physical realm, we always want to see in order to believe, but in the spirit realm, which is the faith realm, we have to believe in order to see. Faith is trusting God completely. Therefore, prayer is not prayer if it is not offered in faith. The overarching principle here is that when you pray, it has to be in faith. For without faith, it is impossible to please God. In this lesson, I want to show you from the Bible that there are different types of prayer. It is important to know what type of prayer applies to your situation. Prayer is communicating with God. And even though God knows all of our needs, He wants us to talk to Him about them. Effective communication requires that it be clear, unambiguous, and specific. If your request is not clear or specific, how will you know when God answers it? If you pray for nothing in specific, you will get nothing in specific. Therefore, our prayers should always be clear and unambiguous and must be specific. Ephesians chapter 6 verse 18 states, "And pray in the Spirit on all occasions with all kinds of prayers and requests." This verse makes it clear that there are different kinds of prayers. What are these types of prayers? Paul gives us a list of some of them in 1 Timothy chapter 2 verse 1. "I urge then, first of all, that petitions, prayers, intercession, and thanksgiving be made for all people." Here we can identify three types of prayers. These are the prayer of petition or supplication, the prayer of intercession, and the prayer of thanksgiving. Elsewhere in the scriptures, we can also identify the prayer of faith, the prayer of consecration or dedication, the prayer of confession, and the prayer of agreement or corporate prayers. Now, this is not an exhaustive list, but I believe that these are the main types of prayers in scriptures. There is a type of prayer that is common in some Christian cycles. It is called the prayer of imprecation. It is simply invoking curses and judgment on perceived enemies. This type of prayer does not make it to my list. Though it was used under the Old Testament, I believe that this kind of prayer has been taken care of by the atonement of Christ. One day, Jesus sent messengers to a Samaritan village to prepare for his visit. But the Samaritans did not welcome him. Two of his disciples, James and John, said, "Lord, should we call down fire from heaven to burn them up?" But Jesus turned and rebuked them. Jesus says in John chapter 3 verse 17 to 21, "God sent His Son into the world not to judge the world but to save the world through Him. There is no judgment against anyone who believes in Him, but anyone who does not believe in Him has already been judged for not believing in God's one and only Son. And the judgment is based on this fact: God's light came into the world, but people loved the darkness more than the light, for their actions were evil. All who do evil hate the light and refuse to go near it for fear their sins will be exposed. But those who do what is right come to the light, so others can see that they are doing what God wants." Based on these scriptures, therefore, I do not believe that believers should be rendering curses or calling on judgment on anyone. Instead of praying for judgment on our enemies, this is what Jesus says we should be doing. You have heard the law that says, love your neighbor and hate your enemy. But I say, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you. In that way, you will be acting as true children of your Father in heaven. For he gives his sunlight to both the evil and the good, and he sends rain on the just and the unjust alike. Our attitude towards our perceived enemies should be to present the gospel of peace to them, not judge them. If someone is drowning, you should offer to save him. However, if the person refuses to reach out for the help, the person will drown. In the same way, anyone who rejects the gospel of Christ is judged already. That is what the scriptures teaches. You see, friends, this is why I do not believe that Christians should spend precious time rendering curses or judgmental prayers on anyone or group of persons. In subsequent lessons, I will explain the different kinds of prayers and their applications. If you do not want to miss any of these lessons, why don't you subscribe to this channel and hit the notification button. If you are blessed through these teachings, I encourage you to share the link with others. Thank you for listening, and God bless.